Hi guys, this is Mike Doble with another segment of Inside the Mountain, a new feature here at Ski Southeast that is kind of meant to introduce our readers and our viewers to the people who manage and operate the resorts here in the Southeast and Mid-Atlantic. Our goal is going to be to do these new segments as often as possible, perhaps 2 or 3 times a week, and we'll hopefully get around to speaking with various mountain ops people, the groomers and snowmakers and rental people, the people who we kind of believe are the soul, to each of our resort mountaintops. Today, we're happy to bring in the very popular general manager of Canaan Valley Resort in gorgeous Davis, West Virginia. So thanks for taking the time and coming in and joining me today again, Stephen, and welcome.
Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate you giving me this opportunity to talk about Canaan Valley.
Yeah, well, I know everybody loves it. In fact, one of our people, I don't know that I've ever mentioned this to you, but one of our staff members at the office, she will unabashedly tell you her favorite ski area of all the ski areas in the Southeast and Mid-Atlantic is hands down Canaan Valley. And she talks about the pristine surroundings, Blackwater Falls, a lot of things that a lot of people who have visited Canaan certainly love. But she talks about the fact that they're always uncrowded slopes. The lift lines are always at a minimum, and I think those kind of things certainly make Canaan a favorite, that's for sure.
Oh, for sure. And the natural beauty of the place. Canaan is just a gorgeous area.
Yeah, no question. I know a lot of people would want me to get right to the most important question is, how are things going so far this winter?
So far, they're going well. In spite of the fact we've had to remake our mountain on three separate occasions. And what I mean by that is we blow snow, we open up trails, and then a warm wind comes and the rain comes, and then the cold weather comes back, we have to start all over again. The frustrating thing about that is it doesn't allow us to open up more terrain. So we get some of our customers who say, why do you only have 20 slopes open? Well, it's because we had to go back and remake the stuff that we'd made earlier. But in spite of that, it's been a good season. Our skier numbers look good. I'm pleased so far.
That's great, and I think that's important to mention. I know the West Virginia area probably has a little bit more of a benefit in terms of they're in that natural snow track, even lake effect snow sometimes coming off the Great Lakes. But also the temperatures have been a notch cooler. So as much as it has been a challenge, I think for you guys, I think some people would trade with you. That's for sure. I know in terms of skier visits and lodging occupancies, those are the things that are certainly most important, to ski resorts. And this winter has definitely been challenging. I know perception for people who live off the mountain from all the points that are going to be bringing traffic to Canaan Valley, and of course Canaan Valley State Park, etc. The perception has been all these wild swings of temperatures that you just alluded to. I've had some people that I've talked to, and when I mentioned that a ski area's got 15 or 20 slopes open, literally, they look at me like I've got a third head on my shoulders. They can't believe they're open. But I guess if you can kind of mention or kind of rate how the season's gone so far in terms of business, maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you say?
I would give it, so far, I'd give it a 7. If the weather had been a little bit more cooperative, or if the weather had been like what it used to be like in West Virginia, consistently cold with a lot of natural snow, I'd probably be giving it an 8 or a 9. Again, I'm pleased with the season so far.
Yeah, I think the truth of the matter is, nowadays with the investment that you guys and all of the ski areas have made on, in snowmaking equipment, snowmaking technologies, the resources to run those things, the farming that you guys do, and maintaining the snow and grooming it or whatever. Obviously, it's a challenge, but even in a challenging season like what we've had, you can turn out the kind of season that you're rating, a 7 or an 8, and I think that's pretty remarkable to say the least.
Yeah, like I said, I feel good about the season so far. Heck, we're only halfway through it, so we still have halfway. We got all of February to go and March, so we've got plenty of time to get us up to an 8 or a 9.
We'll hope that happens. I know you and I were talking briefly before the call. Briefly before the call, there's even a chance of a nor'easter coming in, I think, this weekend. So
Yeah, that's we keep seeing that, and frankly, we're getting ready. We're preparing for a nor'easter. I've been through three of them. Uh, they actually end up being a lot of fun, but we also have to prepare for it.
yeah,
Things like make sure we have lodging, and what do we do if power goes off, and I don't mean to be scaring people, but you do have to prepare for these things. Usually what happens, it just brings a lot of snow, and the skiing is awesome. And West Virginia does a good job of taking care of their roads up here, so we typically don't have any problem with people getting in or out. So that's a good thing.
yeah. The DOTs at all the states, within all the states of the Southeast and Mid-Atlantic, do a remarkable job. They know how important the ski areas are to the economic impact, to the area, and they're going to do everything they can to keep those roads great. But it's interesting that you do bring up that fact that you even have to make sure that, if people choose to call themselves snowed in, you have to make sure that you have that lodging to be able to accommodate them and those kinds of things. Really, I'll mention this real quick. I know a lot of people don't know that Canaan Valley Resort is part of the West Virginia State Park System, and in fact is one of the largest state parks, I guess, in West Virginia. Obviously, there's much to do there year round, with golf and hiking and biking and even whitewater rafting close by, the waterfall tours and those kind of things. Obviously, you have a brilliant fall color season and what have you, but I guess what a lot of our readers don't really know, and we're trying to kind of introduce them to, is there's a reason why they should obviously go to Canaan Valley Resort. You guys have got the cross-country trails, you've got ice skating, you've got snow tubing and all those kind of things. I guess if you can kind of tell our readers who have yet to visit Canaan Valley, why should they make it, kind of a must visit this season and seasons ahead?
Well, the unique thing about this area, the Canaan Valley area, not only do we have the resort, which kind of anchors the tourism in this county, it's Tucker County, but we embrace the entire winter experience here. My goodness, we've got characters like Chip Chase over at Whitegrass. It's a great cross-country ski area, and he's a character in himself.
He is.
He is. Come up and meet him. But, like you said, the resort has tubing, it's cross-country skiing, ice skating. But then after a busy day of doing that, they may want to take a trip up to our two mountain towns, Davis and Thomas. Enjoy the Purple Fiddle, which has nightly entertainment, really good entertainment, I might add. Visit the three microbreweries that we have up in the area. There's great shopping, like eclectic shopping up there, mountain handmade stuff. It's just an entire, winter experience, and then they go cross-country skiing in other places. I mean, it's just a lot to do, which goes back to summer, too. Honestly, my favorite season up here is summer. Climate's great. There's a lot of things to do. Canaan Valley is just, of course, I've lived here since 1982, so I'm a little prejudiced, but it's just a wonderful place to live and work.
That's awesome. I think you brought it up. So one of the things I've kind of wondered myself as this applies to Canaan Valley is what is the breakdown in terms of the busy season? I know, for example, up at Wisp Resort, I visited there a few times, and they made it clear, as busy as it was during the winter that I visited a few times, their busy season is really during the summer, Deep Creek Lake or whatever. Can you kind of speak about that breakdown into how important the winter traffic is to the resort?
Oh, yeah. It's, for example, there's two different revenue streams. There's a hotel, and then there's the recreational amenities that generate revenue. Obviously, the golf course, ski area would be part of that. In the summer, from a hotel standpoint, October, July, August, September, June, they're our busiest months. So we don't really start getting to being busy in the hotel and the ski area until midway. But from a revenue standpoint, if we're having a good year, then it's January, February, December, October, and then it goes down. So summer is very, very important to us from a hotel standpoint, but from a total guest, the resort in Canaan, it's the winter season. So if we have a good winter season, we're set for the rest of the year.
Gotcha. That makes sense. And then, of course, the summer and the fall, you've got all the hikers, bikers, and a lot more open in terms of if you want to get out and kind of do some walks and nature walks and those sorts of things as well, waterfall tours, etc. So
all kinds of stuff. Play golf.
yeah,
Great mountain biking up here. Great, and I'll clarify, great cross-country mountain biking up here. And that's what most people do anyways, cross-country. As a matter of fact, this summer we put in a 6-mile cross-country hiking, biking trail, and snowshoeing for that matter, trail that's rated beginner intermediate. So it appeals to a broad range of people.
Well, I know the views there, spring, summer, fall, winter, doesn't matter. The views there at Canaan Valley are unparalleled, that's for sure. Listen, I don't want to take up a truckload of your time, but I don't think we can have a discussion about skiing and snowboarding in Davis, West Virginia without at least broaching the subject of Timberline. I know you guys stepped in and stepped up to the plate a number of times, over the last couple of years to kind of help out where you could with visitors and guests, who are in the area expecting to kind of ski over there. And I've said this before, good on you guys, obviously, for that. But obviously, Timberline was only open a short time last year and then has been closed, obviously, for this winter season. Pretty safe to say that the way things kind of played out there, I guess it had to kind of provide a good bit of a boost to you guys in terms of skier visits and traffic to Canaan. Is that kind of fair to say?
Yeah, it is. And not just Canaan, but to the whole area. In my opinion, for whatever it's worth, I think the ski slopes at Timberline are probably some of the best, if not the best, in West Virginia. Mm-hmm. So it's good to have that kind of neighbor right next door to you.
Yep. Well, in fact, I know I talked to Ed Galford over at Snowshoe, long time, mountain ops guy over there, and he's actually told me I don't think anybody in the Southeast and Mid-Atlantic would argue that they would all love to take that salamander trail and put it on their ski areas. So I think I would agree with you. That's for sure. And I know I would add for people that might be listening to this, I know that I've talked to you many times before, and in no way, shape, or form would you want to wish any peril for Timberline. We're better with them than without them. But I do think it's appropriate to mention that. On that subject, I guess, real quick, obviously Timberline has now been sold, to Perfect North Slopes and Chip North and their guys. Have you had an opportunity yet to kind of speak with Chip or Jonathan Davis? Are there any thoughts or plans to kind of work together with any promotions that could benefit, visitors next season?
Yeah, Jonathan and I met briefly, a couple of months ago, and of course, he's up to his elbows and trying to figure out what he's got over there at Timberline, and thinking about opening up next year. So we didn't really have a long conversation, but we have both agreed that when things kind of calm down, that we'd like to get together and talk and see what kind of other opportunities might be out there for working together. Mm-hmm. I think both parties are definitely open to that. I hate to speak for Jonathan, but that was kind of my impression when I talked to him. Really nice guy.
Yeah,
and I'm so glad a ski company has bought Timberline.
No, I would agree, and I think anybody from Davis, which you guys obviously have, and for obvious reasons, have some of the most passionate homeowners and populace, of any of the ski areas in the Southeast and Mid-Atlantic. And I know there was a great cheer, went up when a ski company certainly bought it. And I've heard, obviously I know in the past you guys had entertained kind of a package of Ski the Valley and that sort of thing. So I think a lot of people who loved and still love Timberline, and certainly people who are in love with Canaan Valley would certainly welcome something like that as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think so. We used to have a Ski the Valley program. Went on for many years between Timberline and Canaan, and then a couple of years ago that kind of went away. Mm-hmm. So, there's a model, there's a framework there that we could work from.
That makes sense. I know you mentioned a little bit earlier, obviously you've been there at Canaan Valley Resort and owned lived there, since the '80s. I know you came on board full time, I guess, in 2015 as the GM. How have you seen the resort kind of change in your time there?
I hope this doesn't sound like a negative, but it hasn't changed much. And actually, I think that's an advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you eat in our dining room and you look out the window, the view that I used to see in 1982 is pretty much the same now. Uh, the valley has maintained its pristine scenic beauty. There have been some things that have happened as far as the ski area. We've added chairlifts, we've added snowmaking, things like that. But the essence of the valley itself really hasn't changed much. Most of the change, honestly, has been up in Davis and Thomas. If they take advantage of their history up there to bring in all these shops and restaurants.
Right, I can see that, and that's a unique answer, but I get it. It absolutely makes sense, and I think that's one of the things that definitely endear people who do love Canaan Valley and Davis and, like you said, Thomas, West Virginia. That's one of the things that's so endearing about it is as much as things kind of may change, the more they kind of stay the same, and I think that is a true benefit. And I think you tend to also get that with that being part of the state park system as well.
Right.
Well,
That's true. And we've got the 500th wildlife refuge that's in the valley, so that's pristine land that will always be the same.
mm-hmm.
We're surrounded by the Monongahela National Forest. The Dolly Sods Wilderness area is adjacent to us. There's a lot of public land up here that will remain just as it is right now.
Yeah, that's what I think it makes Canaan Valley so special. Listen, I know I'm gonna spring a little bit. I've taken up too much of your time. I've got maybe a couple more questions to throw your way real fast. I know I'm gonna spring a little bit of a surprise on you, but it's not a bad one. As I was getting ready to go to start interviewing, I had an email from evidently a young person, and I know we get a lot of young people who would love who love anything to do with snow. Their dream job would be to do exactly what you're doing. One of the things I was asked, by a reader just now, is there any advice that you would share with someone who wanted to ultimately get to that position in their lives that you're doing? Kind of how did you get started? What would you recommend?
What I would recommend is taking a job, any job, at a resort or a ski area, and learn it and work hard, be recognized. The thing about the tourism industry in general is we tend to promote from within. Unless it's a specialty person, we really don't reach out much. We like to move people up that we've seen and know how hard they work and their passion. So that would be my recommendation. And it may be lack of a better word, a lower level job, but everybody's got to start somewhere. And I've seen there's a lot of people here who are now in upper management who started as a housekeeper or started as a busser out of high school, and now they're a manager or they're a supervisor. They have worked their way up.
Mm-hmm. And that's the old school way of doing things, and I think I've heard that same story more often than not within the ski communities. They're a tight-knit, close group, and they do tend to promote within. And like you said, there's some scenarios where you kind of have to do otherwise, but that just makes sense, and I think that's great advice. Listen, I'm going to get to this last thing real quick, probably the most asked question, I guess, when it comes to Canaan Valley. Our own meteorologist, Brad Panovich, still occasionally messes up the pronunciation of the resort. Obviously, the confusion may come a little bit from that Bible pronunciation of Canaan, instead of putting the emphasis, obviously, on Canaan. But where did the name come from? Why the difference?
The legend has it there was a bear hunter who tracked a bear into Canaan Valley, and he got up on one of the high ridges, looked down in the valley, and was just awe-inspired by the beauty of the valley, and said, "Behold the land of Canaan." Well, he meant the biblical term Canaan, but he was not a very educated person, so he mispronounced the name, but it stuck. So that's where it comes from. It's It was just a mispronunciation from a person who wasn't educated.
And the rest of the community said, "Let's go with it."
I guess so.
Yeah, I think we've just got to get.
It's always been Canaan.
Yeah, we've just got to get Brad going consistently with the same thing. So, listen, is there any special events or anything that you kind of want to talk about real quick before we close up? Anything going on over the next couple months you'd like to kind of mention?
Yeah, we've got a telemark rampage, I think's the name of it, that's coming up this weekend. There's a Fat Tire race that will be taking place in February. We've got an uphill ski race in March. I guess I'm trying to show you we do other things besides just downhill skiing.
Yeah, uphill. That's got to be a chore.
Yeah.
And you've got the
to see these Ironman.
Yeah, absolutely, and you've also got the WV Governor's Cup, I guess, hosted there as well.
We do.
Yeah.
And in April, we kick off our spring season with Canaan Valley half marathon. Last year was the first year we had 1,100 entries.
Wow.
It was quite an event.
Wow, I'd say so.
We expect to be bigger this year, and that's in April. But your readers can visit our website, and it's got all these events listed.
Yeah, that's great. And by the way, guys, that's www.canaanresort.com, and they do a great job of showing both the winter, spring, and summer, fall activities. So you can go there, and there's a tab right up top for events. So be sure to check that out. I know we talked about it, Steve. So I know you play golf. We're going to have to obviously schedule that for late spring. I'd love to get up there and get in around. That's for sure. But thanks a ton for taking time with me today, man.
Oh, well, thank you, Mike, and I appreciate you doing this.
Yep. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon, my friend.
Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you, Mike.
See you. Bye.